Well, Joe, I don't know, there's 6 here.
Good evening. If everyone would find a seat, please. I'm James Cox, I'm Director of Recreation for the City of Warner Robins. I want to thank you for coming out this evening for this strategic recreation facility improvement plan presentation. This presentation will be done by Lawson Associates, and the moderator will be Whit Alexander.
Back in spring, in the same room where we asked the folks, everybody give us comments and feedback. How many folks here? Just a handful of folks were here at the previous. I want everybody to be aware that this is another meeting in a series of meetings that we've held over the past few months as we've done our analysis of the community, finding what people want. And let me ask again another question. The survey that went out that asked everybody what they liked about the Parks Department, what they like to see improved, what new facilities they would like, all that stuff. How many folks took that? So about the same folks that were at the meeting. So I just wanted to get a feel for the survey. Where was it? It was online. It was an online survey back. What I'm going to go through tonight is present. This is our draft plan, except for the city's final review and for final comments from everybody in the audience. There's been a lot of work by city staff, other citizens, everybody who gave us comments went into this plan. It's not set in stone. It's always a moving, breathing document that can change over time as funding becomes available. New needs are pressing the city. Obviously, those things cause new ideas to come forward and new things to have to be built and considered. But this is a roadmap for the city. And the reason why the city took this project on in the first place was that they understood that the department had not been well funded in a long time. There were a lot of facility needs that the department needed. There were new programs that the department needed to undertake. And there was a long wish list. And everybody in the city probably has their project that needs to come forward and be built. But the city needed to be able to prioritize and strategize. Which ones do we need to tackle first? How are we going to get there? And really, how much do we need? I mean, we hear a lot of people say, I need this or I need that. It's very important to this group of actors. But is that really in line with what other cities y'all size is doing? Is it really something you ought to be providing? Is it the basic services the Parks Department ought to be offering? Or is it the sort of thing that, oh, wait, if we could do it, let's see if we can. It was to kind of get a feel for where is the department in comparison to other communities your size, especially the cities that are trying to look forward, attracting business, attracting new jobs to the community. What things do companies look for when they're trying to locate? What quality of life issues should the city be fostering to try to expand and attract new business to the city? And also, of course, meet the needs of everybody that lives in particular parts. So with that, I'm going to go through and present the plan, just an overview of the plan. And then after I'm through, we're going to open the floor up to comments, questions, of course. If anybody picked up a comment card at the back of the room when you came in, please fill that out, leave that behind. We're going to take that into consideration. If you didn't sign in, please sign in and do that on the way out. If you want to hang around after we're presenting and listen to everyone else, that's fine. If you leave, that's certainly fine too. I'm sure there'll be a Q&A when we're through. So first we've got the city officials and department staff and the us. We held in this room. We also held the public. Which ways the city's growing and how the city's changing. We performed site visits to every one of your parks. Went out and looked at and evaluated things in terms of ADA, safety, maintenance concerns, variety of facilities that may be offered in any one neighborhood, let's say. Looked at all of those things. And the development of a few new sites that people in the audience may not be aware exist. There's some priorities. It's also going to impact operational expenses in the city because you have to hire new people to run those facilities. Maybe a project to be funded to be constructed, they also have to think, how are they good synopsis? Everybody felt that James's department does a good job with the resources he has. The department is funded at a certain level and they have a large responsibility. He does a good job of covering as many bases as he can. But there's a need to fulfill long-standing promises to the community for building parks in underserved areas. That's been going on for a while. I'm sure folks are aware that there's been talk about parks in certain areas. For a while, the city needs to complete those. The city needs to balance park improvements across the city to prevent duplication of services in any one neighborhood. Rather than fund two, say, pools or whatever you want to say in the same neighborhood, how can they best fund one pool in a certain area of the city to take care of the needs rather than duplicating money that's pool? And they need to collaborate, fund financial resources to commit to a capital improvement plan. The city knows that it's been a while since large capital investments have been put back into parks. How can they? Input meeting, the meeting we held in this room back in the spring, here's a few comments. We've received many comments, and they were all very good. But this is sort of a synopsis of that. Everyone felt that all the parks need improvement. Everyone said that their neighborhoods need better quality parks. People living in the western, northern, and southern boundaries of the city were concerned about a lack of parks. It was interesting, too, people living in the eastern areas of the city felt that they needed parks as well. New facilities such as a sports complex, a community pool, a natural area amphitheater were all facilities that were offered. People often raised their hands and said, please, we have to have things. And we looked at, not just building bricks and mortar, but what could James's Park do in terms of program, offering new programs in maybe some of the existing parks. To just offer a wider variety of things for people to do. The survey that was put online had, I can't remember, James, 45, 50 questions, right? And they ranged across a broad number of topics. We had 397 participants across the city who took this online survey. And you see the types of questions that people were asked. How much do they participate in programs? What parks do they use? What prevented them from using certain parks? How was the department performing, funding? We asked people about their demographics so that we could get a feel for how the park system was being used. Here are some of the top items that came out of the survey. Baseball was the top youth sport for participation, followed by basketball, football, you can read there. Youth sports for desired, meaning those that aren't currently offered. Archery, indoor soccer, swim team, tennis, sports camps. For adult sports, largely the same. You see desired adult sports include softball, summer baseball, tennis and outdoor fitness, co-ed basketball, or indoor courts, that kind of thing. And then the same thing for seniors. We asked senior crowd. And from demographically, we could tell what the seniors were desiring versus what the young people were desiring. So those were the results of the survey. A couple of quick questions, and again, so we had 45, 50 questions, but these are some of the ones that really tell the story. Overall, how well do you think these certain facilities and programs are being provided by the Parks Department? There were not enough trails and greenways. Number one comment that everybody gave us. More walking, more trails. That had the largest number of respondents. 265 people said that they needed more. Responses related to more programs and activities, to the evening, and very few people said that there were too many parks or too many programs, that the Parks Department was doing too much. Very few people said that. We asked people how often you and your members of your household have visited these various parks. So we listed all the parks in the city. They said that the Recreation Center and Fountain Park are the most visited parks. There were a couple of parks not too many people were aware of. These were the little small, little neighborhood parks. And the majority of the parks that are visited each year are in the eastern half of the city. This question said, what keeps your family from going to some of the parks right now? And lack of amenities was the biggest reason, followed by poor condition, maybe unsafe condition. Those were also high on the list. This question asked how many people living here. This is of city residents. How many people travel outside the city for recreation purposes? And 62% said yes, they leave Warner Robins if they need to go to a park for a certain facility that they desire. And we asked, okay, what influences your use of that facility? And the top winning answer there was that other cities offer better quality facilities. That's the reason I go other places to play. So we asked people some projects. We said, if you were to develop this, or if you were to develop that, and we listed some projects that came out of the last meeting. Where people offered up a sports complex or trails in the last meeting. We put that into the survey. We said, how many of you would use this? And development of trails and sidewalks was a very high demand. We asked people if they would support or oppose development of an indoor recreation facility for year-round program, meaning like a rec center gym space. 95% of the respondents said that they would support it. And items for that facility, if they wanted most, was indoor walking track, multi-purpose gyms, meeting rooms, weight fitness rooms, and indoor aquatics. So a large rec center, aquatic center was high on the list for what people wanted. We asked people these questions about, do you agree or disagree with this statement? 85% of respondents said the good parks and recreation system is just as important as a good school system, good public safety, and park distribution, visitor safety, and event program advertisements are cited as being deficient. So that gets to something we've seen in other communities. That people feel like oftentimes once their basic needs are being met, that their public safety is doing a good job, the schools are doing a good job. Let's say there's always room for improvement, I'm sure, in everything, but once they feel like those things are being taken care of, the next wish list is usually parks, the fun things that your family gets out to do and affect your quality of life. So they felt like, most of the respondents felt like those things needed to be addressed as well. We said, all right, if you were to help fund additional facilities in the city, how many people would be willing to pay additional money? That could come from any number of resources. 20% of the people said no, I wouldn't pay any more for increased recreation park usage. Nearly 45% of respondents said they would be willing to spend $15 or less per month per household to improve the parks. And we had some other numbers. I want to say we had, this graph doesn't say, but we had, say 10% say that they would be willing to spend $25 per month per household. We had another 10% say $20 per household. So the good thing was that a large number of the people taking the survey said, yeah, they were willing to spend a little bit extra to get some better facilities. That was important. So in terms of our recommendations and assessments for facilities, what we start with a lot of times is a community level of service for parks. This is based on these numbers, and I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds on these numbers here. Y'all are certainly welcome to come talk to me afterwards about this stuff. We compare how many ball fields, how many playgrounds per 1,000 people Warner Robins has compared to national standards. NRPA, the National Recreation Park Association, publishes that. They have online current data. They maintain a database of averages of cities around the country, how many playgrounds per 1,000, how many baseball fields per 1,000. And so we looked at what Warner Robins provides compared to the national standards, and we looked to see if there were surpluses or deficiencies. In some areas, y'all were right on target. Y'all had enough facilities of some kinds. Some others, y'all were definitely deficient. Park acreage was one that y'all were deficient. Currently, y'all are 86 acres short of matching the national average of what parks departments have in parks. If you were to go, though, that's based on 72,000 people that the city has now. Projections are that by 2020, y'all will grow to 84,000. So in just 5 years, that 86 acres that the city might need to add now just to catch up to the average is going to be short again. In 5 years, you're going to be 149 acres short, based on that population increase projection. So this type of study shows James' department, I know everybody's asking for new basketball courts, new trails, new baseball fields. How many do we need to try to find homes for? And that's what led to this, which is finding out what areas of the city need new parks. This is an analysis right now. You see the pink circles. Those are where we call them the neighborhood. Or sorry, the neighborhood parks, right? Or the mini parks. Mini parks. Those are little small green spaces, not much bigger than this room. Let's say it's passive. Maybe you've got a picnic shelter, benches, walking trails, maybe a little playground, something like that. And you see that's the existing parks right now that meet that classification. There's Tot Lot, Township Park, and MacArthur Park. Well, MacArthur Park, Township Park, Tot Lot. Okay? And those are basically, those are national NRPA standards, is how we classify these things. They have to do with acreage. Like, the bigger the park, the more people can serve, the wider radius it serves around the city. Another classification NRPA has is the neighborhood park. Some of these include things like Briarcliff, Sewell, Perkins, Memorial Park in its current condition, Ted Wright Park, and some Fountain Parks, and others. Those serve a little bit wider area. And again, you can see where those are clustered. They're all in the eastern, pretty much the eastern half of the city. These are what's called community parks. These draw people from all over the city, and maybe even outside the city, especially if they have some unique feature. Right now, that'd be Tanner and Peavy would be the two parks that fall in that category. And that's because of size, how many acres they have. Right, so what we look there, we overlay all of that together. We make sure. We start looking for gaps. What areas of the city are missing parks? Okay. Well, we see that in the eastern half of the city, we don't see a big blue circle for a community park. We see that the western edges of the city have community parks, but the eastern half of the city does not have a community park. It's got neighborhood parks, but it doesn't have a big community park. Vice versa, and on the western edges, we don't see very many neighborhood parks, the walk-up type parks with passive features. And that really reflects a lot of the comments we got at the last public meeting and at the survey. People in the western edges of the city said we need more small parks just to go throw the frisbee. People on the eastern half of the city said we need more big facilities. We don't have big facilities. That's exactly right. That's exactly how the map pans out. So how do we address that? Well, there's some property that the city already owns. There's the landfill site, we've got North Houston Road, we've got Olympia Drive, correcting that right, Jim. Olympia Drive. We have some other, and Walker's Pond. We have some other properties out here that would serve more of the neighborhood park feel. And those kind of, if we would develop those, that starts to fill in some of that gap on the western edges. One thing, though, that we don't really show or have right now is a community park in the eastern half of the city. The city owns some land that's adjacent to Memorial Park right now. It's great, there's a bunch of trees back there. And the city is about to do some realignment on some roads. It's going to knock out one of your ball fields there at Memorial Park. So there's going to be some changes coming to Memorial Park regardless. There's also some changes coming that people may not be aware to James's current rec center, his headquarters right now. It was an older facility. It was built probably the 50s, most likely 60s. He's really busted at the seams if y'all been in there. I mean, they're doing a lot with that building, but it's really outlived its usefulness. And the city's got plans for that property. There's plans to redevelop that whole area where James's Center sits. So he's going to have to find a new home anyway. So in killing several birds with one stone, we saw a lot of need for more indoor basketball. We saw a lot of need for aquatics. We see a center that serves the eastern half of the city about to go away. It needs to find a new home. And we see a lack of service in the eastern half of the city for a community park. So what y'all are going to see in a minute is taking all of those things together, like I said, killed about 5 birds with one stone. We're going to create a community park on the eastern half of the city by expanding Memorial Park and moving James's Center there. What we're also going to do is out here on the western edges of the city, we're going to develop some neighborhood parks with passive things like playgrounds and trails, throwing a frisbee and a skate park, and some other things of that nature that currently aren't serving that. There's also some other things you're going to see in a second too. The shortages I was talking about, the number of fields Sports complex, I think it was baseball fields was the biggest deficiency, right? I mean, y'all got private ball here in town, but in terms of public ball, and that's mostly for tournament draw, those private facilities. For public play, public events, y'all don't have the number of ball fields you need for a city your size. Good thing is y'all got some property that can fit it. North Houston Road is a big piece of property, and there's been talks of a sports complex coming there for a while, so that's part of the plan. Y'all will see that in a second. We went through and assessed, and I'm not going to go through every one of these, but we assessed every single park. We spent a good bit of time in every one of these, looking at conditions. Some are clean and well maintained. Some are, the grass is worn out, it's just loved to death, like we say. Lack of maintenance. Funding, not a lack of maintenance effort, it's more a funding shortage, means that things can't be replaced when they wear out. So we went through every one of the sites and we looked at those, and I'm not going to go through all the details because it's a lot. But we went through every one of y'all's park sites. The small ones like Topwater, Fort MacArthur, we looked at adding sidewalks, fixing ADA, making a little walking trail in each one of those, maybe cleaning up things. We got into some of the larger neighborhood parks. Some of them, and again, remember how we showed you on the map all the dots where those things were? In some cases, there might be two next door to each other. One might have basketball, and the other one might have basketball. So, in one park's basketball is in okay shape, and the other park's basketball is in not okay shape. So rather than maybe in that one park where it needs some repair and replacement, we're just going to take it away from that park, and we're going to go to the other park next door, right down the street. And we're going to expand that basketball and make it nicer. It makes it easier on James to maintain when he has more things linked together, grouped together in a park. And it offers some variety so that you don't have two parks with basketball sitting right next door to each other. Maybe one offers the basketball for the people in that neighborhood, and one offers now a new thing, like in this park, open space, and maybe some walking trails. So that in that same neighborhood, 2 or 3 new offerings are being served. Now, if anybody wants to come see these and look specifically park by park, we can do that, but I'm not going to go through the whole list and show them. Just know that every single park was addressed. Every single park was getting improvements. Hence, there's a big price tag associated with it. So we were looking at what would it take if you were to redo everything and get it all up to a certain standard and expand with some new parks being developed in the system. So here's a couple of quick examples. There's Memorial Park. This is the front half of the park people are probably familiar with. This is that wooded area this is about. But we're showing multi-purpose field development back there, rectangle fields for soccer and football. We're showing aquatics and indoor recreation center. We're showing some expansion of some tennis and some other courts, as well as some walking trails. Out of the North Houston Road site, and the landfill site, the North Houston Road site becomes a 10-field baseball softball complex with some other areas for open lawn and some other facilities. There's a lot of trails around. There's an opportunity for a large tennis complex with a large number of courts to host big tournaments out there. The old landfill site, this is you see the odd-shaped property there. There's enough room for a 9-hole frisbee disc golf course. If y'all have ever seen frisbee golf, where you throw the discs, there's enough room there for 9 of those holes, plus a skate park and some open lawns out there, just for free play. And some of the other new parks, we talked about Olympia Drive. There's been an ongoing effort to develop some kind of outdoor classroom, amphitheater, maybe some trails. We show reflecting that as well. You see the blue stripe through that property? Everyone needs to be aware that is a flood zone. There's a lot of moving water during big flood events. So we can't really do too much heavy development there, but we can do some passive development. And then Walker's Pond site. Around the lake, walking trails, open lawn, and playgrounds, pavilions, to bring a neighborhood park out there in the city. One other thing that the city asked us to look at is, okay, now we've got all these new park sites, we've got these facilities, how do we link them up for people to walk from park to park? So Trail and Greenway network was looked at. Where should we route new greenways and trails to connect these dots? Well, I'm going to go forward and come back. I know it's hard to see. People can come up and see this later if they like. There's stripes there. There's purple stripe, blue stripe, green stripe, red and orange stripes, green stripe here, basically connecting the dots between several of the larger parks.